You ever met people who talk big about hard work, but never hesitate to grab free stuff the moment it's offered? My husband did. And one simple bowl of candy exposed every bit of their hypocrisy. By the time he was done, his coworkers were fuming. And honestly, I couldn't have been prouder. If you've ever wished karma would show up with perfect timing, hit that like button, subscribe, and get comfy. Because this story, it's the kind of revenge that's as sweet as Halloween candy. My husband Rob works at a medium-sized company. Nothing fancy, just your typical mix of cubicles, coffee stains, and the same tired office jokes recycled for years. He's the kind of guy who minds his own business, keeps his head down, and does his work quietly. But there's one thing that's been gnawing at him for months: his coworkers. You see, Rob's job takes him to the back room most of the time, sorting inventory, filling orders, doing the behind-the-scenes stuff no one else wants to do. But from that back room, he can hear everything. And what he hears? Well, let's just say it's the kind of talk that makes your blood pressure spike. They talk politics all day long, loud, obnoxious, and smug. The kind of people who think they figured out the world just because they read one headline. Every day, Rob would come home, loosen his tie, rub his temples, and say, "You wouldn't believe what they said today." He tried to tune them out. He really did. But some days it was like listening to nails on a chalkboard. One morning, while restocking the supply shelves, Rob overheard something that pushed him past his limit. A group of his coworkers were gathered near the front counter, laughing, sipping coffee, acting like they were solving world hunger. But what they were actually talking about was people losing their SNAP benefits, government food assistance. And they weren't just discussing it, they were mocking it. "Why should I pay for someone else's groceries?" one said. "They just want handouts," another chimed in. "They're lazy," said a third. "If they really wanted to work, they would." Laughter followed. Rob stood in the back, frozen, a box of supplies in his hands. He wasn't on food assistance, but hearing them speak with that kind of contempt, it hit him hard. He grew up poor. There were nights when dinner was a slice of bread and peanut butter. His mom worked 2 jobs and still sometimes had to choose between rent and food. He knew what struggle looked like. And hearing these people who never missed a meal, talk like that, it made his stomach twist. But Rob, he didn't say a word. He just kept working, jaw tight, eyes down. Because at that job, confrontation never ended well. He vented to me that night. "They have no idea what real life is like," he said, slumping on the couch. "They wouldn't survive a week without their privileges." I told him to let it go. But deep down, I could see it, that quiet fire building behind his eyes. A week later, Halloween had gone and gone. And like every year, we had way too much leftover candy. Buckets of it. Chocolate bars, gummies, lollipops, the works. I was about to throw it away when Rob said, "Wait, I'll take it to work. Maybe someone there will appreciate it." I didn't think much of it. I just handed him the big plastic bowl and kissed him goodbye. But as he walked out the door, I swear there was a little smirk tugging at his lips. At work, Rob carried that massive bowl into the break area. The candy gleamed like treasure under the fluorescent lights. Within seconds, his coworkers noticed. "Ooh, candy," one of them said, eyes lighting up. Another laughed. "Finally, some perks for working here." They started moving toward it, hands already reaching. And that's when Rob stopped them. He gripped the bowl, smiled politely, and said, "Oh, sorry, I'd offer it to you guys, but I figured you don't believe in handouts." Dead silence. One of them blinked, confused. Another frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Rob just shrugged. "You know, handouts, free stuff. Didn't want to ruin your principles." And with that, he turned and walked away, carrying the bowl straight to the customer area. He set it on the counter with a sign that said, "Free candy for customers, because everyone deserves a treat." Word spread fast. By lunch break, his coworkers were fuming. They whispered about him, shot dirty looks across the room, and made passive-aggressive comments. One even muttered, "Guess Rob thinks he's better than us." But Rob didn't care. He just smiled, humming as he went about his work. Customers loved the candy. They laughed, thanked him, took a few pieces. It brightened their day. Meanwhile, the self-righteous group in the back room sat there, staring at their empty coffee mugs, too proud to ask for even a single piece. For once, Rob felt peace. Not because he embarrassed them, though, let's be honest, that part was pretty satisfying, but because he finally got to flip their own hypocrisy right back in their faces. That night when Rob came home, he was grinning like a kid. "I think I taught them something today," he said. He told me the whole story, every delicious detail, from their greedy eyes lighting up at the candy to their stunned silence when he called them out. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. He just leaned back on the couch and said, "It wasn't even about the candy. It's about watching people choke on their own words." And I couldn't have agreed more. Some people need a mirror to see their hypocrisy. Others just need a bowl of candy. The next day, something interesting happened. One of those same coworkers, the loudest one, came up to Rob quietly. He didn't apologize, of course, but he did mumble something like, "Hey, that was pretty clever yesterday." Rob smiled. "Thanks. Glad you think so." And that was it. No shouting, no drama, just a subtle shift in power. A reminder that words have weight, and karma sometimes wears a candy wrapper. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be loud or cruel. Sometimes it's as simple as giving someone exactly what they say they want. Nothing. And when the moment's right, the sweetest revenge is watching silence replace arrogance. If this story made you smile or say, "Good for him," go ahead and smash that like button. Tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying act of karma you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life revenge stories that prove one thing. Sometimes the best payback comes wrapped in kindness.